that drafted him into the league and then, quite honestly, upon hiring John Gruden, didn't want to pay him or didn't want to keep him, or I guess it doesn't matter. It's all in Khalil Mack's temples, and he is going to bring the pressure today, to say the least. Players Only, presented by Geico. This is now teed up for you guys. Take it away.
All right, thanks a lot, Rich. And we're joined by Mike Robb and Sean O'Hare. They're out at MetLife Stadium. And, fellas, we're going to talk about the most intimidating defensive player that you ever played against. And I'll go ahead and start. And mine was an old colleague of ours, Michael, and Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
Best defense I ever played was that Tampa Bay Bucs defense, but it was that guy that was about 3 feet away from me every single snap, knowing that he could disrupt a play. And, ouch. I mean, just seeing that. But he was a guy that you thought about all week long. You know, as a quarterback, you're always saying, okay, I got to forget about those guys up front and just do my job. But every time that guy came into the building, every time we played against him, I knew where he was, and I knew he was going to be coming after me all day long. It was a guy I never wanted to see when I was on the football field. So now let's head out to you guys. Sean, who you got?
Yeah, Kurt, it's painful to watch that video. You know, you could have thrown the ball away and helped your offensive lineman out a little bit. I don't know what you're back there burping the baby for.
You could have blocked somebody to help your quarterback a little bit. Come on, man.
Listen, you didn't have any good photos of Mike and I when you did the player segments, but I'm really glad I wasn't involved in that sack reel on you, because no doubt we gave up a couple up in Green Bay that I remember. But I'm going to go with another defensive tackle, John Randall. I get asked all the time, the toughest player I've ever had to block. John Randall was a machine. We call him a butt-kicking leverage machine. That's the PG version, Mike. But this guy, I didn't even play him when he was in his heyday in Minnesota. It was in Seattle. I was playing right guard for the Cleveland Browns, and I was watching film, writing down every move. All right, does this guy have a club move?
He had a lot of
them. Move. Yes, the bull rush, the spin move, the counter move. He had it all. He was like a cheat code, and he was so low to the ground. He's hard to get down below. He reminds me of, when I watch film now, of Aaron Donald.
Wow.
Just a game wrecker. He would get all up in your business. He could bull rush you, quick hands, and he made a sound. Like when he made his moves, you could hear the air coming out of his lungs as he. So he came with sound effects, and that made it even worse when you look back and your quarterback is on the ground.
Yeah, for me, guys, it had to be Navarro Bowman, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers. And it wasn't that he brought a lot of pain. It wasn't that he brought a lot of pain to you when you went up against him, but he was a playmaking linebacker. I used to like to go up against Patrick Willis a little bit more, because you knew exactly what you're going to get with Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis wanted a physical confrontation, Sean, but Navarro, he wanted to make the play. His eyes was on the prize. His eyes was on the running back. And I just hated going up against him, because he never really gave you a surface. He always gave you a shoulder. It gave you something. Never gave you something clean to hit. So Irv, who was the guy that had you sitting up all night before they put their hands on you in the second?
He was in bed early, right?
Listen, you talk about a clean surface to hit. I'm gonna tell you somebody that always hit, and I mean he hit, and that was Ronnie Lott, man. Oh my God, man! I remember watching Ronnie Lott in high school, watching him when I got in the league, and man, I was thinking, we got to play Ronnie Lott. Anytime he was on the football field, I'm like, please don't call a slant. Just don't call a slant route. This is the man that cut off his own finger so he can get back in the game to hit you. People always talk about, man, you weren't scared. Yes, I was scared. Courage does not say fear did not exist. Courage said you had an ability to overcome your fears. When they would call a slant route, I was like, oh my God, there's Ronnie Lott. And then little Michael would come inside me and he'd say, hey, Michael, you either run that slant or we got to run back to the ghetto. Then I'm not scared anymore. I wasn't scared anymore because I put the fear up against a greater fear, which was going back to the ghetto. Trust me, Ronnie Lott was no joke.
Did Ronnie Lott talk? Because I think about Sean talking about John Randall and Warren Sapp. That was the worst thing, is after they hit you, they were always talking, always chirping. Was Ronnie Lott?
No, Lott would help you out. There you go, dog. Like, don't help me up. Don't hit me like that. Don't touch me. He was a beast, man.
I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the game today. And another guy that has been talking a little bit this week is this guy right here. Adam Thielen, throw.
Alexis. Okay, it's time to get one of these right, guys. I got of the season. All right, Steve, you're up first.
I got mine. All right, guess.
Oh, boy.
Guess who has the record?
Uh-oh.
Look at him there. Look at him. He's waiting for it. Wait for it. Guess who has the record for the most rushing touchdowns?
Oh, me.
Against the Broncos.
No, not me.
Close. His name is Kurt Warner from the Seattle Seahawks.
Well done.
I like
Coach.
That's great.
Kurt Warner.
Coach.
Yeah.
So it is
That's
me.
pretty good, Coach.
I like it.
The original, the real
Well
Kurt
done.
Warner. 1988, he had 4 rushing touchdowns against the Broncos. So today, I boldly predict
Well done.
that Melvin Gordon, who's fresh-legged right now, is coming off, he's only going to play limited. That makes us even bolder. He's going to have 5 rushing touchdowns and beat your cousin's, what would he be? His, the other Kurt Warner's record, and it's not always about you, Kurt, okay?
It's bloody rubbish. It's bloody rubbish.
Oh, my gosh.
For me,
That was
I'm
good,
going to
Coach.
Minnesota. There's
That's a
been
good
so much going on there. There's been complaining about the wide receivers, and then there's been rumors, and of course we know there's truth in every rumor, and then there's apologies by the quarterback, and all kinds of stuff going on between the quarterback and wide receivers in Minnesota. I say that that's going to just quiet down today as Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs will catch 22 or more passes, which would be a record for those two guys in one game, and over 275 yards receiving today. We're going to quiet everything down. We're going to feed those guys if we're Kirk Cousins so we can just go back to playing football.
Boy, that would be quite a day, and Kirk can stop saying he's sorry. That'd be good. Now, listen, you guys know, like when you have this girlfriend, and then you guys break up, right? And you break up, and you're going to a party, and you know she's at the party.
Oh, geez, I hate when that happens.
You put on your best outfit, you go borrow your boy car because you had a piece of junk, just so she can think you're doing much better. Now, because you want to make sure that the old girlfriend sees it. Randall Cobb today plays against his old girlfriend.
Oh, boy.
That's right. Randall Cobb going up against his old girlfriend, the Green Bay Packers. Randall Cobb has 157 receiving yards on the season. He's going to dress up. He's going to put on his best clothes and get in his best car, and he's going to come with 158 receiving yards today. 158 plus receiving yards, because if you get 160, I still want it. Right.
But the real question is, the girl that he's bringing to this party is better than the old girlfriend that he had at the last party?
That's what he's about to tell you. He's about to tell you. Because he only had 142 receiving yards in Green Bay. When he has 158, he says she looks better.
Okay.
That's the worst John Hughes movie ever. And by the way, here's a guy who comes to work dressed like he's in one. Daniel Jones trying to make it 3 in a row. Tom Brady strolling the field in FedEx.
Looking good, ready to roll.
He always does, sir. So you know that. We're expecting him to look pretty darn good against an 0-4 team as usual. Yeah, later on today. Hey, everybody. Hey, look at Troy Aikman up there.
Did you know you were up there?
Oh, let's widen. Can we keep widening out? Oh, Charles Haley's up there.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy's on the left.
Crazy.
They put crazies on the left.
Crazies up there.
Jean Slater already at her post at the Jones Mahal for this big late afternoon affair. Jane?
Rich, the Packers have never lost a game inside AT&T Stadium, a perfect 4-0 record. And as the Cowboys look to unravel some of that bad luck, they're going to have to do it without their starting left tackle, Tyron Smith. In his place, their veteran swing tackle, Cam Fleming. He started 3 games last year and won all 3 of them with the Dallas Cowboys. And as Ezekiel Elliott described it to me, because of the depth they have in that room, it's essentially a different blocker, same scheme. With that being said, though, this might be the week for Dak to once again go to that run game, especially when you consider the Packers through weeks 2 through 4 allowed more rushing yards than any other team in the NFL. For more on Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott, let's throw this one back to you, Rich.
Okay, and in terms of that matchup, both quarterbacks, as we all know, this year have won 3 of their first 4 games, both coming off of their first losses of the season. The numbers, as you can see up on the screen, when these two played for a winner-go-home contest in Dak's first year. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers went into this stadium and one and done them. And now we are slated for a big Week 5 afternoon. Just 2 late games. One out here in Los Angeles with the Broncos and the Chargers, and then this one on Fox. Rich Eisen, Steve Mariucci, Kurt Warner, and Michael Irvin at the end of the set here, halfway through an NFL Game Day morning, taking up the kickoff of all the 10 early games. Which quarterback's going to have a better day, Aaron Rodgers or Dak, Steve Mariucci?
Well, when I think about that, I don't necessarily go to statistics, who's going to throw for 300 yards or whatever. I'm talking about who should win the game. You pay the quarterback to win, all right? And I'm going to take Dallas. I don't know if it's going to be a lone wolf for you or not. I don't know. I'm going to take Dallas. He's going to be without his left tackle. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be without Devontae Adams. And, Mike, when we were there, Devontae had 10 catches against the Eagles. All of a sudden, he's out in the fourth quarter, and they were a different football team, right?
Right.
And so somebody's got to step up for Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Geronimo Allison or Jimmy Graham or Valdez-Scantling, somebody. But Dak's going to have a complete set of his supporting cast. So I think Dak Prescott's going to be the guy with the advantage today.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can break it down to 2 things. Is winning, I'm kind of with you, Mooch. I'm leaning towards the Dallas Cowboys. But bigger game or better game statistically, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to do more in this football game if they're going to win. And we've seen some signs. They're not quite there yet offensively, but I love it when Aaron Rodgers starts playing within the pocket. And you see it, he's getting back to it a little bit more this year. Hold the safety right here, ball out of his hands, ball's out on time, money throw into a tight window. That's when Aaron Rodgers is at his best. And then be special when you have to be special. Simple read here. We got 3 receivers to the top, even look defensively. I'm going up to the top, reading the flat defender, bang, ball's out of my hands. My playmakers are making plays for me. And then you're always going to have the special, Moochie, right? You're always going to have that. Oh, they're going to bring pressure. You got a guy unblocked. No problem. I can handle this a few times a game, falling away. Money throw to Big Jimmy Graham for the touchdown. So starting to see a little bit more of that timing. If they can get a little more into rhythm, I really like where Green Bay is going, and hopefully that starts today. And I believe he has a better stat game than Dak Prescott does
you just
today.
showed right there part of the reason why it was a particularly special win for the Eagles on Thursday night, because Aaron Rodgers brought his A game.
He did. He played great
Thursday night.
Right. And Rich, and you see that throw. He's throwing the ball like this, man. I mean, the dude can throw anywhere, any platform, any way he needs to, no matter what, and hit anybody. He's so dangerous. I say Aaron Rodgers has a bigger day. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys have to get back to what they do best, and that's running the football. The Green Bay Packers gave up 176 rushing yards last week. The Dallas Cowboys needs to come in and say, we're going to go for 200 rushing yards. You want to help keep Aaron Rodgers off the football field, you run the ball, hold on to the ball. Don't ask your defense to battle that all day long, because like you said, he's playing on schedule now, and the things he does special can't anyone in the world do. You cannot stop it. You need to run this football.
And Mike, Zeke only had 34 yards rushing last game. You gotta feed that guy the football, like you just said, like they did Jordan Howard over there.
And Michael Gallup comes back for Michael Gallup. That's a big loss. I think they underestimated that. I talked about that here. Getting him back will be big.
Well, speaking of big, I mean, the Minnesota Vikings have a big game today. They're 2-2. They've lost twice in division, both on the road, obviously. But you get the Bears and obviously the Packers that the Vikings have lost to, coming off of that loss to the Bears in Chicago. Adam Thielen talking about the offense not going deep enough. Diggs had a week in which he missed meetings and practices that reportedly cost him multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines from the team. I mean, the drama is thick. And meanwhile, the once upon a time 0-2 Giants are loving life with Daniel Jones. Kim Jones.
Well, they are indeed. But let's talk about those Vikings, Rich, with the frustrations with Stephon Diggs and the Vikings reaching a boiling point this week. I talked to cornerback Xavier Rhodes, who told me we're trying to move forward. We need a win. He also mentioned this is a Vikings team that has its eye on not only winning the division, but also making the playoffs. They know that could come in time. But at the moment, we are still talking about the dysfunction between Kirk Cousins and his wide receivers. And here it is now, set.
A serious conversation about Kirk Cousins. And we're going to have it right here. Because this team, as we all know, when they signed him to the first ever fully guaranteed contract, 3 years, $84 million, they were just coming off of an NFC Championship game appearance that Case Keenum led them to a 7-0 lead in that game. So that was the floor. once Kirk Cousins walked in the door.
Right.
Get us to the NFC Championship game and at least a touchdown lead. Otherwise, we've already been here before. Yeah. Now, Kurt, here we are 1 year in plus. No playoff appearance last year. Now 2-2. There appears to be an open mutiny going on that also involves the coach and his style of wanting to play offense. Is it a mistake? Was it a mistake for the Vikings to do what they did with Kirk Cousins?
Well, let's just put the caveat that it's not over yet. I mean, he's got 3 years, I think, to prove what you're talking about. But if you're looking at it right now, yes, it was a mistake. This is not a better team. This is a worse team with more turmoil right now. I mean, last year, they didn't even make the playoffs. I mean, 7-8-1 as a record. Right now, you've got receivers calling this guy out. And when I watch him play on tape, I feel like he's a shell of himself. I feel like he's afraid to play football because he's afraid to make a mistake. He's afraid that he can't live up to that contract and that guaranteed money that he was given. And I remember talking to him before he signed with Minnesota, and he fully understood where they were the year before that they got to the NFC Championship game, and that his role in coming in there was to take them that next step, was to get them to the Super Bowl. So that, I know, has been on his mind since the day that he signed that contract. But if you're looking at this right now and where they're at and how he's played and where the team is compared to where they were when he got there, I would say, yes, they believe it's a mistake that they went that route right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's a mistake. I think he was the best quarterback available. They tried to make an upgrade. I don't know if Case Keenum would have brought them to the playoffs last year either. And we can criticize how he's playing. He's fumbling the football, and he's not winning games or throwing the ball down the field. That's the style that the head coach wants to play. He's been through 4 different offensive coordinators. It's like run the ball. We have a good defense, and I can see where the frustration with the receivers will lie. But here's the thing. You can criticize his performance because it isn't as good as we've seen him play at times, but we can't criticize the contract. He's got a hell of a contract, okay? I'm saying 3 years and it's all guaranteed. Don't hold that against him, because there are a lot of quarterbacks in this league who have not won a playoff game that have over $100 million contracts. Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr, Dalton, all these guys.
Coach, there's a lot of potential in that, and that's what they're paying for in that. They thought they were getting a finished product in this young man because he's been in the league long enough. Those guys you're talking about are young guys, and they're still looking forward to these guys growing and becoming great players. This guy right here, man, and listen, guys, I always say, pressure does one or two things to people. It makes the good fold, but it makes the great focus. And when we look at this, when you look at all the times that he's been in a pressure situation, he's folded in those pressure situations, and he's in a pressure situation right now. So when, Kurt, you start talking about how he's not feeling confident, that permeates your room. Those receivers, they know this. They know you're getting gunshot, and that's why they're saying what they're saying right now.
Let me just hold on, if you don't mind. Let me just jump in here. So you see Diggs on the screen here and Thielen as well. Now, a lot of folks think that we're still wondering what the truth in the rumor is that Diggs had mentioned today, and he's, as you see, getting his freak on, getting ready for the game. A lot of folks were wondering if Thielen was referring to what you were alluding to, Steve, in Mike Zimmer. Now, you guys know Zimmer very well here, and you mentioned the number of the churning of offensive coordinators, and part of what a head coach needs to do is make do with the people that you have. Yeah. And perhaps the style that's going on right now and the sense of you're not going to be the one that we're putting the game on your shoulders, Kirk Cousins, that helps add to the pressure. So my question for you is Zimmer doing the right thing?
But Zim's going by what he's seen. Zim's going by what he's seen. Zim said, hey, man, I had a defense. I had everything I needed. I'm pretty sure you guys sold me on Kirk Cousins, and now he's getting out here, and we're not getting it done. We're going to go back to running football, and we can win with our defense. That's what Zim said. And I do believe that's what Adam Thielen was talking about also. I don't think he was pointed at Kirk.
Yeah, same to the head coach. Take the hands off of 10-2 and a foot off the brake here. Let's let him drive the car.
But I feel like they've tried that in the past, and that's why
exactly
Zim has pulled back. But I was just going to say, Coach, you say don't get mad at the contract, and I fully agree. I'm happy for all the players that get their money. But we have to understand in this business, when you sign those deals, no matter who you are, whether you've proven it or not,
expectations come with it.
Yes, when you sign those deals, there is an an expectation that you have to play up to your deal. Whether it's fair or unfair, that is part of the business. And when you sign on the dotted line,
that's true.
You understand the expectations that come with it. Again, not faulting him for signing on the dotted line and going there because, as you said, he was a free guy. He earned that, but you also have to live up to that expectation, which is not an easy thing to do.
You want to talk about, again, pressure, the difference between the Vikings being 3-2, putting potentially all of this behind them with the deodorant of the win, as opposed to 2-3, where they go home and take on, just to bring this all full circle, the same Giants. Eagles team that they played in that NFC Championship game. I mean, could you imagine they go home 2-3 to take on that Eagles team who's never lost to the Jets ever since the Super Bowl era began, and they take on the Jets today? That's what's at stake going on in MetLife Stadium with that game. Actives, inactives approaching in about 20 minutes. You could see the difference between expected to play and good chance. It's a new one there for Terry McLaurin. Juju Smith-Schuster is a game-time decision. Good chance. That's better than bad chance. I'll be honest. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's good chance.
Good chance. That's a new one. Just bottle that accent, will you please, Steve? Take it away, Ian Rappaport.
By the way, Terry McLaurin, I'm now told, is expected to play, so we could update that board right there. But let's talk about T.Y. Hilton, of course, for the night game tonight, a huge game for the Indianapolis Colts. He's been battling a quad injury, missed last week. I'm told he is expected to play, a huge boost for this offense. They still, though, are waiting on the status of Marlon Mack, their standout running back. He's battled an ankle injury, did practice fully on Friday, but needs to test it pregame. And then, of course, we know that Tyreek Hill, the star receiver for the Chiefs, he is out tonight with this sternoclavicle injury, but his return is coming. From what I understand, there is a realistic, legitimate chance that he's out on the field next week. He's got to go through another protocol again, Rich, but he's got a shot.
Okay, thanks very much. That's Ian Rappaport's latest. There's Gardner Minshew.
There he is.
You learn something new about him every week. Did you know his grandfather wanted to have him named Beowulf?
Yeah, no.
Imagine Beowulf Minshew. Definitely would have been a second.
Made the show today.